Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Mando. Just want to let you guys know that I am doing pretty amazing today. What about you guys? Had a pretty alright moment. Woke up a little bit annoyed, but it was all good. Chilled for a bit. Went out, had a nice walk. It's a sunny day here in sunny San Diego. Before I even moved down here, I remember when I was telling, when I used to work at a bank, I remember I was telling a lot of people I would see every day. I was like, hey, come June 2016, I'm going to be moving. I won't be able to be here anymore. And they'd be like, really? Where are you moving off to? And they would all say the same exact thing. I'd be like, I'm moving down to San Diego. They're like, sunny San Diego, and everything. So I'm like, man, it really is sunshiny down here, I guess. So when I finally moved down here, it was hot. Oh my god. I remember me and my then companion, we made one pit stop on the way over here. And I remember I had the AC blasting all the way in the car from SF all the way down to, I think, Valencia, which is just north of Los Angeles. And that was our first pit stop. And I remember getting out of the car and oh my god, it was burning hot. It was the air was so hot and dry. I was like, this is how it is down here. You see, being from the Bay, we don't get heat like that. So it was a shock to me. So I was just like, a pit stop lasted like 5 minutes. It was just to fuel up and grab some drinks so we don't fall asleep on the road. So we started driving the rest of the way to San Diego. I remember we got around to here around like 5 p.m. June 4th. And when we got here, we got to where we were going to move in and got out of the car. Still dry, still hot. I could not believe it. I hated it. I really did. And it was just, I didn't think I was ever going to get used to it. But eventually I did. Because I remember, fast forward a little over a year, one of my old jobs required me to wear full uniform with gear on. I had to wear long sleeves because I had a tattoo on my arm, even though you could barely even see it unless I move a specific way. They're like, no, you still got to cover it. And yeah, it was, I was working in this one area, and it was about, I remember checking the temperature outside. It was about 95 degrees outside, and I was in the heat of it all, in the middle of it, and there was barely any shade where I was. So I had to withstand that. I remember I was sweating so much. I felt so gross when I got off of work. When I got home, I immediately took a freezing cold shower because of how gross I felt and how good it felt to just really take a nice cold shower. Well, anyways, the point of this story was when I first worked my first job here for this company based out in Santee. I remember working graveyards, so I didn't really get to see the sunny San Diego side of it because I was always sleeping indoors, and I hated graveyards, by the way. That job sucked. Anyways, I was working graveyards, and I remember one night I was in a parking lot taking my break. And I stand outside just to stretch the legs a bit and everything because I was driving around majority of the night. And I see a flash of light in the air. I'm like, what the hell? Then suddenly, boom. And then it was like, oh my god, thunder. Then it started pouring rain. And it would just rain so much that eventually when I switched that job, when I quit that job in December, the day after Christmas, and like 2-3 weeks later I started with a new job, it was pouring rain those days too, and it would rain so much. And I remember I would talk to people who were from down here, born and raised, and they were like, yeah, it never rained this much here in San Diego. And I'm just thinking, wow, this is sunny San Diego? This is what it is? Huh? Nah. But I did think that way. Eventually, it was shown to me that San Diego is primarily sunny because I believe in 2020 and 2021, we barely had rain. No, maybe in November, December of 2021, I remember it rained for like a solid 2-3 days, but that was about it. Hold on, my AC is going off. Give me a second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Oh, and if you heard music in the background or are going to hear music, it is, again, the Skyrim Atmospheres. The reason I'm replaying it for 2 reasons. One, I love it. It's a good vinyl. You guys should really listen to it on YouTube, probably. 2 is because, how do you say it? I don't have much records. And there's my dishwasher. I'm sorry, guys. That's just what it does all the time now. So, yeah. Well, anyways, I don't have much records. If anybody can recommend records for me, that would be great. He's gonna start again. There you go. There it is again. I just know this machine now. It's like it needs to. We need to do dishes a lot more because this is ridiculous. Every time I want a podcast, it's still going on and everything. Well, anyways, so Skyrim Atmospheres. Snowcap edition, and also something you're gonna hear right now too, besides those couple of things, is this. Wow, that thing must have ruined it. Well, anyways, I'm drinking another Liquid Death. It's refreshing, it's cold, it's in a can. You know, things in a can taste better than things in like plastic bottles. Do you guys like agree and everything? It's just they get colder and it feels better, you know. On top of that, they taste better. Way more refreshing. Like, if any of you guys work, like, labor, where you it's hot, and and you're, like, working up a sweat, and you're, like, moving around a lot, just doing physical labor, demanding jobs, and everything. And then, like, someone goes, like, here, have a drink. And they hand you a nice ice cold drink. Would you rather the drink be in a bottle, like let's say a Coke, if you guys drink Coca-Cola, would you guys rather be handed a Coca-Cola that was in a cooler that's in a plastic bottle, or would you rather be handed a nice can of ice cold Coca-Cola? Or even better than those two, a glass bottle. Those are amazing, the ones from Mexico. Ooh, delicious. Well, anyways, my point is, things in cans taste better. Original point. It wasn't until I was like long here in San Diego where I started really seeing why they call it sunny San Diego. It's beautiful. The beaches here are beautiful. Like, holy crap, you know? It's a beautiful city and all that stuff. I remember the last time I went, I was with my family. We were at the beach because here in San Diego they have an ocean beach. Back in the Bay, there's an ocean beach too. And I remember we went to the beach and we were walking all alongside the beach and everything like that. And I was talking to my oldest sister. What do you call it? I remember we got to the beach and I was like, yeah, there's an ocean beach in San Diego too. I was telling them. But in my head, I was thinking to myself, damn, this ocean beach sucks. Everything, like, I was wondering, I was like, how can people say these beaches are beautiful or more beautiful than those beaches? I know now. Like, the ocean beach in San Diego 1,000,000 times better than the ocean beach back home in the Bay. Honestly, it's just kind of embarrassing how the beach up in San Francisco is and everything like that. But yeah, so I remember I was just watching it and everything, and we were walking alongside and just talking. We saw a couple of live crabs. Those were pretty cool. And how do you say it? When we were just walking, my sister goes like, I bet you're all like, man, the beaches down there in San Diego are way better. This one sucks. And I laughed and I was just like, well, I wasn't even gonna say it. but yeah. So they know. But yeah, no, the beaches down here are just so beautiful. It's so fun, you know. There's everywhere has its own beauty to it, you know. Like, I feel San Diego's beauty has to do with the fact that the beaches down here are incredible. If you want your stereotypical like brah, like surfer dudes and shit. Oh snap! Ugh. Maybe I'll bleep that out. I'm sorry. If you want your typical surfer dudes, then how do you say it? Man, that's gonna bug me now. If you want your typical surfer dudes, it's here in San Diego. If you want your surfer bros, if you want your penny board riding, if you want your cruiser board, longboard riding, you want to eat poke and drink boba and everything like that by the water, then you'll get all that down here, and that's the beauty of it. Didn't really visit much in LA, but back home in the Bay, it's different. The Bay has beaches, but from what I've seen growing up, it's not comparable to the beaches down here. The thing is, the Bay also has boba. The Bay also has poke. The Bay has a strong Pacific Islander Asian community that they have a lot more stuff of that compared to San Diego. Not only that, I remember when I took my lady up there last March and everything, I remember she was shocked. She was shocked because we were up there and everything. I remember I kept telling her, dress warm because the weather up there isn't like here in San Diego. She didn't listen to me. And guess what? She was super cold. We ended up buying her a hat and gloves and everything like that. And I was just like, wear leggings under your jeans and then wear a long sleeve and then the sweater over that. And she thought it was too much, but I told her, I was like, that's literally the style. That's literally how you dress up here. That's how a lot of girls dress up here. Because that's just that's how it is in the Bay, You think you're dressing too hot or anything like that? Trust me, bring a sweater just in case. And I keep telling her, even down here, bring a jacket just in case. Bring a sweater just in case. Because you don't know when you're going to get cold. Granted that down here it doesn't get really as cold as up there. And when it does, I love it. But people from down here can't stand it. It's different. And that, in my opinion, is part of the beauty of the Bay. It's colder up there. But when it's cold and sunny, you're not dying of heat. It's nice and cool. You can take off your sweater or shorts and tank top, maybe, I don't know, maybe even sandals, and you won't feel like your skin is burning like you're gonna get sunburned. You're just gonna feel nice coolness, the cool like air, the wind of the Bay. And another thing is the sights. I remember she kept thinking, man, San Francisco is so huge. How will I ever be able to see it all? It's so massive and everything. Pause. And I told her, I was like, to be honest, San Francisco isn't even big. And I was just like, San Francisco is 7 miles by 7 miles, north to south, east to west. She didn't believe it. I had to show her on Google Maps. 7 by 7 miles. The only reason why you feel like there's so much here and why it's so huge and everything is because everything is packed together, like so close. Down in San Diego, you have a ton of residential areas, a ton of apartment complexes, a ton of buildings and everything like that. But those are mainly homes or apartments or abandoned. You have spreads of bars here and there, maybe restaurants here and there. Every little city down here in San Diego County has its own little thing about it, but it's so spread out with just default buildings in the middle. And I told her, think about it. You think downtown has a lot of things in it? Yeah, you do, because it's downtown, of course. But what if you take downtown and immediately put a city like La Mesa right next to it, and then you grab a city like El Cajon and put it right next to it, and then you go and grab North Park and Hillcrest and City Heights, and you grab all these areas and just put them right next to each other, just compact and everything. Take everything that you can do in each one of those cities and just put them right there next to each other instead of having to spend all that space just to get from point A to B. You'll notice that there's going to be a lot more for you to experience, a lot more for you to do, but it's going to take up a smaller radius because everything in San Diego is really spread out. I remember when I first moved down here, I tried applying for a job, and that job told me to go apply in downtown San Diego, and at that point I was living out east. In the Bay Area, if I wanted to go to downtown and everything like that from where I used to live, I used to walk 12 minutes, get in a BART station, take the BART to downtown, get out, walk a few blocks, get in there, apply, have my interview, leave, go back to the BART, go back to my original BART station, get out, walk home, and I would do that within an hour. All of that within an hour. I thought it was going to be the same thing that out here. No. What I realized was it was going to take me an hour and a half just to get to the place. And that didn't even tell me, how long I was going to have to wait for the interview, how long the interview was going to be, and then how long I would have to wait to get transportation to get back home, which was going to be another hour and a half. I thought this was the worst decision in my life, and to be honest, I wish I did have a car. I did have a car at that point, but I didn't. So it sucked, but it's whatever. Anyways, I eventually got used to it because 2 of my major jobs that I had down here required me to work in downtown, and the commute just became so routine in my life that it made me miss my old route back home, but I just became so used to it, especially when I picked up skateboarding again. I made a 35-40 minute walk from my house to a station. I think my record time was 10 minutes, and that was skating. It was insane. I loved it. Well, anyways, I feel like I keep saying anyways a lot. I'm sorry. But yeah. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So going back to different regions, I want to take my woman back because I want her to experience even more of what my city has to offer. Because the last time we went, we got there, what was it? We got there on a Friday morning. And when we got there Friday morning, I was able to show her my old neighborhood, but we were just driving through. I was able to show her my old neighborhood. I was able to, take her to one of the old breakfast spots I used to have. And I remember I ordered a burger for breakfast. This was like 9 something in the morning. And I remember I ordered a burger. And she tried Bay Area style huevos rancheros, which is different than the huevos rancheros here in San Diego. And she enjoyed it. But for me, I forgot how different the burgers were prepared up there. I don't know what they do that's different, but it has its own thing. I remember biting into that burger after years and years of not being there. And that I hadn't been there probably even 3-4 years even before I moved out. And it just threw me back to my childhood. Like when I was a kid and my mom and my sisters would take me there, me and my other sister there. It was just, it brought back so many memories. You guys ever have that happen to you? Where literally you have something or you experience something you hadn't experienced in years that immediately memories just flow back that you even forgot you had? Well, that's what happened to me. And I started taking her around. The thing I regret though is we never really got out of the car to really explore and take everything in. Like we did it with the Palace of Fine Arts and everything like that, which is beautiful, by the way. And I took a picture of it because I remember before we even went to the trip, I was playing Watch Dogs 2, which takes place in the Bay, and they have the Palace of Fine Arts there in the game. And I made my character stand there while I used the drone and turned off the HUD and just try to experience it like I was there myself because I missed it. Well, anyways, I was finally there and I was with her, just chilling on the bench, just looking and enjoying it. But I wish we were able to do that more. And I wish we actually had a longer, a longer time that we could do it. Sorry. Because we got there on a Friday, like I said, Friday in the morning. We should have gotten there Friday in the afternoon because we were originally going to leave at 6 a.m. And the funny part is we were just moving the time a lot earlier and earlier. We were like, let's leave at 6 a.m. We could beat traffic, yada yada, and just a straight coast over there. And I was like, okay, well, let's leave at 4 a.m. That way we could have just a little more time to go look around. And I was like, you know what, we could probably just, if we go to sleep now, we can wake up and leave by 2 a.m. And we're like, let's leave by 1. And then let's leave at 12. So we could be there by 8 a.m. We ended up being like, screw it, pack your bag right now, we're leaving. That's what we did. we went to her mom's place, dropped off the keys to our place, had our stuff packed up, and by like 10:45 or 11:20, something like that, we just drove. We ended up heading north and everything, and we ended up sleeping. It was weird. Like, I drove for like over 2 hours or 3 hours, and I remember while driving, there was a point where I remember I was awake. My eyes weren't feeling heavy. They weren't feeling dry or anything like that. But my vision was distorted. And I didn't feel tired. But she was, I guess, feeling the same way I was. But she basically said out loud what I was thinking, which is like, maybe we should just pull over and go to sleep real quick. And we ended up doing that. We fell asleep for 2 hours. Which is honestly, like, we woke up back again at like... Wow, when did we wake up? Again, like 1, 2, 3. We woke up again at like 5 a.m. So this was already 3 a.m. when we how do you say it? When we were going to sleep, it was already 3 in the morning. We woke up at like 5 a.m. and went in. I wanted to grab a cup of coffee to wake me up, but it wasn't happening. Like, I knew that at some point the coffee was gonna catch up to me. And we were going to have to find a place to pull over. And it would have sucked if we were miles between exits that had gas stations in it. And I was just like, better not risk it. But that was fine. Because literally, I wasn't falling asleep. We were having like a good time. And that 8-hour drive didn't even feel like 8 hours. Because I had her with me. And it was fun. I would so do it again in a heartbeat with her. But how do you say? I want to take her back up there to experience everything. Got there Friday morning, checked into our hotel fairly early and everything. And it was a nice small room. It was still when COVID was a thing. So they had a lot of restrictions, a lot of things. There's a lot more places I want to take her that I grew up in and stuff. So we could just walk through and she could experience how San Francisco really is. And then come Sunday, we woke up. I took her to this place called Jim's Restaurants that me and my family went to since before I remember. I think, was I still a baby when they started going there? Yeah, like years. Like, the people there watched me grow up. And of course they didn't recognize me because it's been like almost a decade since we all went there. She loved it. She thought it looked different. She was like, because there's no places in San Diego that look like that, so it's different. And how do you say it? But she loved it. She loved the food. She loved the atmosphere. She loved everything and stuff. And I was so happy with that. And the thing that I had to teach her, though, I was just like, hey, listen, this area is different than what you're used to in San Diego. And the reason I say that is because in San Diego, you know, you can buy stuff, put it in your car, go off and buy some more, put it in your car, whatever. In San Francisco, in the Bay Area, basically, we have a really big problem with people bipping cars and everything like that. Bipping meaning breaking your window and stealing your stuff. It got to the point where literally people would empty their cars as much as they could and then put up a sign saying, listen, I have nothing valuable in here. Don't break my window. You know how sad that is and everything? Although there's very few videos out there that show them getting caught in the act and getting their just desserts. But I wish there was more. But they're very satisfying and everything. So we went to this Chinese store there. One of the old stores in my old neighborhood that, I used to go to a lot growing up because their stuff is cheap. They have a lot of stuff and their stuff is cheap. So we got a blanket, which we're still using right now when we go to sleep. And she wanted a blanket. It was like $45, something like that. She loved it. She loved how it looked. She loved how it felt and everything. A little bit of SF back home with us in San Diego. And she was just like, yeah, I want it, this and that, you know. I was like, that's fine. So we go and, I buy it for her and everything like that. and we're parked in front of the store. So she was just like, we were like across the street from the place that I was gonna take her to go eat that morning. And she goes, hold on, I'm just gonna put this in the car. And I'm like, nope, because I had the keys. I was like, no, you're not. She's like, what, am I gonna carry this? I'm like, yep. I was like, well, let's go to the restaurant, I'll explain it to you. She's like, really? She's like, here, I'll carry it. And I told her, I was like, listen, here in this area, if you buy something significant with a lot of people around and stuff, and you put it in your car, people are just going to be watching you. And once they know you're gone, and you're going to be gone for a bit, they're going to go to the car, they're going to break your window, and they're going to jack anything they can. Don't give them a reason to draw attention to your vehicle. That's why I was like, that's why I said we can go to the store after, but you wanted it. But it's like, okay. But yeah, so that's what we did. And hold on, my record stopped. I'll be right back. I knew I wasn't doing that. I hope you guys enjoyed the sound of my dishwasher bubbling. But my cat's hella sleepy. So yeah, after that, what did we do directly after that? We I took her down 24th Street down to another part of my old neighborhood, and how cultural it was. It was like, remember in an episode previously when I told her when I told you guys my old neighborhood was all about, before gentrification, was all about la raza, familia, que somos Latinos, Hispanos, and everything. Very prideful of who we are, what our people and everything. That's one of the final remnants of how it used to be. Gentrification took a lot of my old neighborhood, and a lot of neighborhoods after that in a lot of different places. It's just that area that seems to be difficult for gentrification to really grasp, because it has so much culture and history in it. And I'm talking about old stores that I'm surprised are still even open, because even when I was a kid, I would look at them thinking there barely anybody even goes there. Like, how are they still open? They're still open. Old bakeries, old food places. My old skate shop is still there. It's like, shout out to Mission Skateboards. Man, I have a board that got stolen from me back in 2018. It was from there. I used to skate it daily. I love their boards. I want to go get another one. Well, anyways, so yeah, and then like you just have so much murals. There's murals in alleyways that just make you want to go through them and really like look at all of it. There's murals everywhere, and then you just see pure Hispanics, pure Latins, Latinos, Latinas everywhere, and like indigenous people and everything. You're just like, you're proud of who you are. And I remember like growing up, I really admired myself for who I was, what I was born into, rather than trying to be other people. Because for me, I'm Guatemalan and I'm Mayan, and I know Spanish, I know English, and I'm trying to teach myself Quiche and everything, which is an old Maya language. And because my goal is for one day, when finally I get my passport and I'm able to travel to different countries, I want to go with my family and with my lady eventually to Guatemala to go meet my family down there and go around and, be able to communicate with as much people as possible. So we went there, and we ended up, how do you say it? We ended up going to this one spot that I remember I used to go to as a kid, which is funny. I forgot what it's called, but it's always located in a corner of this block, and it had on the side, it's like this bluish grayish color, and there's this side that has like little, I always thought it was funny since I was a kid, because they had this depiction of these paintings of these pigs who cut off another pig's head off and put it on the grill, and all of them are smiling. So these two pigs slaughtered this other pig and are cooking them, but they're all smiling. And I always thought it was funny. I have pictures of it. I'll try and upload it in the middle of this this whole thing. And how do you say it? Yeah, I always loved it. Well, anyways, chicharrones down here are usually just fried pig skins and everything, and they're good. They're delicious with hot sauce and limon and everything like that. They're delicious. When I was showing her chicharrones up there, I showed her, yeah, they can be the same as down here, but there's another variation of chicharron where they don't take off the meat and everything, but they cook it with it. And she's like, what? And I took her to my old spot. And I showed her the bin, chicharrones and everything. And I was like, that tortilla lady I was telling you a while ago, there she is. She's still there. She's still making tortillas in the same spot. And we go to the back, and I'm like, hey, dame diez, $10 worth of chicharrones. So the guy did. And she saw them. We went to the car, and she saw them. She was just like, what? I'm like, what? Oh, before that, we went to to this Guatemalan bakery. And we ended up getting Guatemalan bread, which she's never had either before. She didn't even know that was a thing. So, how do you call it? We ended up, she ended up seeing it, and when she bit into it the first time, she was blown away. She was like, holy crap, these are chicharrones? And I'm like, yeah. And then she had another one. I'm like, these are so good. And I'm like, yeah. It's like, they were my favorite food. Funny thing is, I'm allergic to pork. I'm not deathly allergic. It's not like, peanut allergies or anything. But I'm still allergic enough that if I eat pork, I'll get rash. The weird thing is, I can't eat pork prepared in certain ways, or else I'll break into a huge rash. But sometimes it's also just like a game of Russian roulette. Like the bullet being a pork, and my mouth being my temple with my head. So when I pull the trigger, either I'm gonna get my allergic reaction or I'm not. It's always random. And I hate it. It's annoying. I think it's quirk. It's a quirk, or no, it's not even a quirk. It's just how my body is. It's weird. Sorry for the dishwasher again. It's weird. I'll get allergies one day, and then another day I won't. And I just like, why don't you just stop eating pork? Because it's delicious. It's delicious. Pigs are good, And so I was like, that's why I still eat pork, because it's a delicious type of food. It's especially made into chicharrones the way they do up there. Well, anyways, she ended up loving it. Had Guatemalan bread, got chicharrones, started walking around the street, started kind of showing her everything. But then we stopped at a gas station to kind of fill up partial of the tank and everything. And she tried to do this thing where she would collect our plastic bottles and keep it in the back of her car so she can go recycle them to get some dollars here and there. But she never did them. So she had about 3, 4, 5 trash bags just filled with crushed bottles and cans. She was never going to get rid of them. So when we were filling up gas and everything, she was just like, man, I got to get rid of these. Just at that moment, some homeless guy pushing a cart was passing by, and she was like, I should probably just give it to him. I'm like, yeah, go ahead. So she called him over, and she was like, do you want bottles and everything? He was like, yeah, you got some? She started pulling out all these trash bags, and he was like blown away, like, whoa, what? Like, he was like, really? It's like, yeah, take them all, I think we made that guy's day, kind of, as much as we could. And yeah, so after that, what do? We stopped at Oakland, because I lived in Oakland and everything. And I went to my old neighborhood, because one of the funny thing is, she was like, yeah, we should probably try to move up here, because she saw how happy I was when we were up there finally. And what do you call it? She was even saying to herself, I don't mind if we move to Oakland. And here's the thing, I don't mind if I move to Oakland. I don't. And everything. I mind if she goes to Oakland with me, because even though it's changed, it's still not good. And I was like, I don't think you're ready for Oakland. I really don't. And so we were like, all right, let me just show you where I used to live in Oakland. Got off of the freeway, got into Oakland, and I looked for a store where we could find hyphy juice, and it's just like, that's the thing you guys know about hyphy juice. You start off a song, became a drink. For the I used to order hyphy juice from the website, and for the longest time the green one wasn't available, and so we were in Oakland. Went to a store. I was like, "Hey, you guys have hyphy juice?" And he was like, "Yeah." I was like, "You got the green one?" He's like, "No, we haven't had that in a while." And I'm like, "Huh, that sucks." Well, anyways, we got there and bought the blue one. Then I took her to my old apartment. Tell me why. When I saw my old apartment, I was like, wow, they really cleaned that place up. It had a new coat of paint, had more trees outside. It looked nice. Of course, this is me speaking from my perspective, because when she saw it, she was just like, you used to live here? And I was like, yeah, they really cleaned it up. She's like, this is cleaned up? I was like, yeah, new paint. She was like, this doesn't look good. I was like, because she doesn't experience that. She's never really experienced that. I did. That's where I grew up. I grew up in ghettos. So it's just like it really made me see how different we were raised and everything. And another funny thing is, for me, my idea of a decent breakfast is if I have a piece of bread and a cup of coffee, and that's it. That's all my breakfast. I don't need all the extra stuff, I remember when I brought it up to her and everything, and I went to go get bread, and I made us coffee. I gave her a little napkin with the bread on top and a cup of coffee, and I got myself one too. She was just like, "This is breakfast?" I'm like, "Yeah, it is." And she was shocked, but she ate it and she liked it and everything. She was like, "Yeah, no, that's pretty good." And I was like, "Did you just never have this as breakfast?" She's like, "No." And I was like, "So you're used to like eggs and bacon, sausage and toast and pancakes with juice or coffee and everything like that?" She's like, "Yeah, no, that's really what we had." And I'm like, "Man, it must be nice." And I was like, "My mom used to do that for us, but that was on Sundays only, And I was just like, that was only on Sundays." And I was like, the other days it was either cereal, oatmeal, and I'm talking about plain oatmeal, and just bread and coffee. That's all we needed. We didn't ask for much. We didn't even have much, but yeah. And she thought it was funny because is it only for Latin men and everything like that? Any other Latin guys listen to this? If you guys live away from your family or whatever, when you go visit them, do you guys stop by like a panaderia, like Mexicana, Salvadoreña, Guatemalteca, or anything like that, and just pick up some bread for your family before you get there? Because I do. All the times I went to go see my family, I picked up bread. Even if I was out and I knew that we didn't have bread, I just picked up bread so we could all have for like a snack or for breakfast and everything. But she thought that was funny. She never really knew people did that as like, something they just do. But yeah, no. And so I remember she needed to use the bathroom bad. And of course, still being when COVID was still prominent, a lot of places had their bathrooms closed. Except this one restaurant really let her use it. Thing is, we parked the car at a gas station. And she was scared to leave the car unattended and everything. But she didn't want to walk anywhere by herself. I was like, it's fine. She hurried up, and we ended up going back to the car, which was fine. And then we ended up beginning our drive back to San Diego, which was another 8 hours. We ended up stopping by Jimmy John's before they closed, once we were like an hour away from our spot. But yeah, no, it was fun. It was a fun trip. I loved it. Really, really loved it. And I just want to go back with her, but for more time. I had topics. The funny part is I had topics that I wanted to discuss right now with you guys, but I had it all planned out. But I went on that whole thing talking about when we went back home to the Bay, and I even just straight off from the original topic, which is the everywhere has its own beauty and everything like that, and just told you guys exactly what we did. And I didn't even tell you everything. Like, we went to Stowe Lake the one full day that We were there like from morning to night and everything. We went to Stowe Lake in Golden Gate Park. She thought Golden Gate Park was gorgeous because it is. It's so green, it's so lush, it's so like vibrant, and it's just alive. You know, and we went to boat riding in Stowe Lake. There was turtles, there was different types of birds and ducks, and there was everything, and it was incredible. We had ice cream. We went to this boba place up in like the Richmond district, which wasn't really that great, honestly. I wanted to take her to Quickly's, and but something told me like, nah, you know, I haven't had Quickly's in years, so I don't remember how it tastes. We should have gone to Quickly's because I went to go see my family soon after that, like in the same month, like probably 2 weeks later. And we went to Quickly's, and it was delicious. So I was like, man, I should have just taken her to Quickly's. What do you call it? So we ended up just doing a lot of stuff, seeing buffaloes. There's buffaloes in Golden Gate Park, and trying to go do everything. But we're gonna go back hopefully soon, and maybe meet my family, because my family has only talked to her on Zoom. We haven't seen each other in real life. But yeah, so anyways, what was I say? Yeah, I had different topics going on and everything like that. But this is the beauty why I started this podcast, is the fact that, you know, I can just talk about whatever I want and everything like that. And you guys, if you guys are interested, you'll listen. If you're not, well, you know what? Still listen, please. I want your views and everything. Remember in the beginning of all this, when I was talking about when I first moved down here and I worked for this one company based out of Santee, and I stopped working there because it sucked? Well, yeah, I hated that place. Believe me, I hated that place. I had a bad supervisor. I had bad management, and the owner and his wife weren't great. You know, I signed up a whole contract to work with them and everything like that, employment stuff, and my rate back in 2016 was going to be $12.50 an hour. I remember I was weeks into there, and I had probably gotten a couple of paychecks and everything, and I would always feel like the paychecks were low. This was on me. I ended up finding out that when I had a trainee that I had to go around and train how to do the job, it was also on payday. I took, how do you say it? We stopped by a bank real quick so I could deposit my check. And I looked at my check and I was like, man, this is so little. I was like, why is it so little and everything? Did I really not work that much? Because I had a full-time schedule. So the next morning when I was off from work and I fell asleep, I remember looking at my pay stub when I woke up again to get ready to go to work. And I saw that instead of $12.50 an hour, they were paying me $10. And I started looking at all my other pay stubs from when I started with them, and I realized they were paying me $10. And I was like, there's paperwork that I signed stating that I was earning $12.50, not $10. So what I did was this. Back when I was smart and was able to do math, I did the math. What would the taxes be and everything if I was being paid $12.50, my original agreed upon rate? With the taxes done, you know, how much am I missing, really? I ended up going up to them on my day off, mind you, and be like, hey, can I talk to, I forgot her name. It was like about my pay. And they were like, what's the problem? And I was just like, I want to talk to your wife, the one who does the finances and everything. Give me a second. We all went to the financial room and everything, and I told them, I was like, hey, listen, so I realized, and I pulled out my pay stubs, and I was like, I realized that all my checks since I started working with you guys was only at $10. And then I was just like, I'm not in training. I understand why that 1 week of training I was earning like $1 less, but haven't been in training in a long time. Why am I earning only $10? They were like, oh my god, you're only earning $10. I'm like, yeah, the agreed upon amount was $12.50. And they're like, oh, because it's a new system, I'm so sorry, I wish we caught that. And I'm like, I understand if the system's new, but it's been weeks and weeks already. You know, what how did you not catch this? You know, and the system can't be new at this point since you already recognize it. Again, they still went off with their story of the system's new. So they're like, okay, well, we gotta find out how much to pay you, how much we owe you, you know, and once we find out, we'll put it all in your paycheck next week. And I was like, here's my work and everything like that. Here's my math. You can check it. This is how much you owe me. They owed me like a little over $300, I think, and I needed it, you know. And they're like, yeah, no, but we got to do it ourselves and stuff. And I'm like, you can look at it right now. I'm putting it right in front of you. That's how much you owe me. Check my math. You could do it real fast. I already helped you with a bunch of it. Check my math, and please just write me a check. I need this money so I can pay my bills. I've been falling really behind. And they're like, yeah, no, we got to do it our own, and we're going to give it to you next week. And I'm like, I need the money for my bills. You owe me that much amount. Give me my money and everything like that. Write me a check. I've seen you write checks before. Just do that with me. Here's the thing. Growing up, I understand that it's a little bit trickier when it comes down to finances, and I understand the whole thing now of making sure all your ducks are in a row before you do anything with, like, especially with money. But the thing is, one, I was 22, and two, there goes my freaking dishwasher again, and two, I needed my money. I wasn't even earning as much as, you know, I was back home in the Bay and everything at that point. So what do you call it? All I did was grab my pay stubs, and I'm like, it's okay. I have a copy of the paperwork that I signed at home. I'm taking these pay stubs. I'm gonna call the labor board, and until I get my money and whatever the labor board suggests, I'm not coming back to work. Before I left, that's when they told me to wait. They looked over my work, and then they were like, here, and they cut me off a check right there. And I was like, that wasn't hard. I was like, if you guys were able to do that, why didn't you do that earlier, you know? But yeah, no, that was the whole thing, and that's a huge chunk of the reason as to why I disliked working there. And yeah, that's why I disliked working there. So how do you say it? Oh man, my record stopped. So I recall when I started working there, and my first month there doing the graveyard work, I remember the old crew that was working there. I have a couple of them on Facebook still. They were great. Still some of the greatest people I've ever met since I moved down here. And I'm glad that in some form we're still, you know, in touch. So they were telling me how not great that place is. And they were telling me the problems. I was still fairly young. And I was still fairly new and inexperienced to, you know, the workforce and everything. And they were telling me, we're planning on leaving. We're looking at this place, that place, and everything. You should go with us. You should come with us. Don't work here too much and everything. I, at that point, believed that unless I see things myself, or at least I personally experience negativity in the workplace, I'll take everything what everybody tells me with a grain of salt and everything. And that was my first step of maybe being more open to believing what people are telling me as the truth, because they all left and I missed all of them. And from that point, it started really going downhill, like fast. Anyways, it got to the point so much so that I ended up, how do you say it, despising going to work every night. And I just despised who I worked for, and I despised what I did. And if you ever get to a point where you're working anywhere where those are your just main feelings, those are the things that get you so angry, you should take that as a strong sign of get the hell out of there, you know? So that's how I felt every single night, waking up, going to work, and I just hated it. And here's the thing, because this is segueing into my topic. I wanted to, one night, like multiple nights actually, I wanted to just go back to my place of employment, drop off the patrol vehicle, get in the car, and then drive home and just be like, screw it, I'm done, you know? But I didn't. I just kept working. And instead, and I didn't give him a 2-week notice. I gave him more like a 5-day notice. And I was just like, I made up a lie. I was like, I'm moving back home and everything like that. Got back to me and they're like, what's up there? And I was like, oh, it's my home. I'm from there. And they're like, oh, okay. So I ended up, my last day ended up being the day, like I started my shift on Christmas night and everything, not Christmas Eve, Christmas night. And it ended the following day, December 26th. And I remember saying, like, I didn't like my supervisors or my employers or my higher ups or anybody like that, but I did still get along with, you know, my coworkers, the same people as level as me. We ended up shaking hands, we ended up hugging and being like, hey man, you were great, you were so reliable, yada yada, we're gonna miss you. I haven't seen them since, but I still from time to time think about them, and I hope they're doing great. But the reason of me bringing that up is, despite not liking that place and despite knowing 100% that I'm never ever gonna go back to them, even in the worst of times, because I would rather go home. I would rather grab my things and just ask my family if I can move back in after all these years than to resort to working for them again. But how do you say it? At least I gave a notice stating that I wasn't going to work for them anymore. So at least they had a few days to get, you know, their affairs in order, to find out what their move was going to be, yada yada yada. And I did that because of one big thing that a lot of people say, which is don't burn your bridges. Really, don't burn your bridges and everything. And there's a smart reason to not burn your bridges, even if you didn't like where you worked, because who knows where you're going to be in the future, you know? Who knows what's gonna where you're gonna end up on, what you're gonna achieve, or if life gets in the way or anything like that. Because let's say you worked in a place where you hated your boss and everything, and the last day you just feel like going on a PA system or just making this big huge thing of you quitting and just like either, unfortunately, hopefully not, destroying merchandise or degrading yourself or you know, cursing out your former employer at that point and everything like that. What happens if years down the road, you know, you feel like you need to go back for whatever reason? You feel like that's your only way to really keep pushing forward is to going back to that place, you know? I hope that doesn't happen, but what if it does? You know, there's always what ifs. You never know what's going to happen in life to you or to anybody else. And that same employer is still there, you know? You think you're going to be able to go back and just be like, hey, listen, yeah, I'm sorry about that. Can I get another shot, you know? It's not 100% that you're not going to get it and everything. There's still a possibility that you may, but honestly, after something like that, it's a very, very huge possibility that you will not be coming back and everything, or not be able to go back. And yeah, so it's just like, even if you don't like where you work, even if you hate your employer or whatever, it's always smart to do it properly. Just write down your 2 weeks and being like, you know, this is not for me anymore or whatever, right? Something professionally and everything. Don't call anybody out from their names or anything like that, but do it professionally. That way, if in the future you feel like they're your only resort to keep moving forward, the possibilities of getting rehired, even if it's just temporary, are so much higher and everything. So much higher, so likely and everything like that. You have your differences, but yet you are an unprofessional. So there you go. And the reason I bring that up, it's because of something that I heard today. Hold on, let me switch my record around again. Sorry. I love records, but honestly, this is the annoying part of it. Hold on. Oh, Chefy boy, you're my son, cause you're Chefy boy. You cry too much. You didn't cry today too much, dude, so I'm proud of you. So I'm trying to finish up in the next 6 minutes because that's all my memory card is. Which just basically brings me up to why I'm bringing this up. I heard news today that Colin Kaepernick, the former 49ers quarterback from back in 2016, he stopped playing for the NFL because, he opted out of his contract with the Niners back in 2017. The thing is, not only did he just opt out of his contract, he also kind of did a whole thing when he was leaving the NFL in general. He made, commercials to, like, how do you say it? That literally try to paint a picture that the NFL, its owners, the coaches, the managers, everything like that, were compared to slave owners and everything. He was stating that the players have to stand in line, that the people have to examine them, any imperfection, any flaw, anything that could put them out of their game and everything. And it's just like, no. I mean, like, yeah, they do that because they want to win. But, the slaves had no choice. They were forced to do that. They were forced to move from point A to point B. They were forced to stand there and be looked at. You guys wanted that. And it's just like, you guys played all your lives so one day you could make it to the NFL. You guys knew what that entitled. A contract was given in front of you and you signed it. They want to know that you're on point, so that way when you put on your $1,000 uniforms, your $1,000 gear, go out to that $1 million stadium, throw a football around, score touchdowns, field goals, win a game, and then get hundreds of millions, it's well earned. It's just, that sounds nothing like slavery to me. And I'm positive that the NFL is like 70-80% minority and everything. And I'm talking about like the Hall of Famers too. I'm talking about the starting quarterbacks. I'm talking about managers and coaches. I'm talking about everybody who invests their lives and money into the NFLs. And it's like, what? It's like, slavery was nothing like that, And so he did that commercial, I recall. And I remember him basically trying to do his own thing, trying to raise awareness for stuff that wasn't really well thought out at the moment that it was happening. Well, anyways, he did that. He opted out of his contract with the NFL, and he went trying to do his own thing. The sad thing is, I haven't heard about Kaepernick in the past few years. Ever since anything, honestly, not even during 2020 when things were pretty bad. But the reason I'm bringing him up is because today he posted up a tweet and everything saying that he's been working out and on his grind for the past 5 years, and he still tried to, keep up in shape and everything like that, and practice football, quarterbacking, but he misses being there going against other professionals, and doing what they do. And he said, if anybody's looking to play, if anybody's hiring, please just let me know. I'll go. I'll join you and everything. And it's like, dude, it's really hard to see the NFL or any team wanting to pick you back up. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying it's a very, very hard thing to imagine happening, After everything that was said, after everything that was done, on the field, off the field, even, talking down to those who spent their entire lives and money investing in the NFL. You really think people who you talk down to really want you back? It's just, it sucks because I know he's into the NFL, but I don't think, he's, how do you say it, really going to get the opportunity. I'll continue this on the next episode, guys. Thank you all for being here and listening and everything. I know this was lengthy. The last one was lengthy, but so is this one. Please have a wonderful day, and thank you for tuning in for another episode of The Mind of Mando. See you.